Yeah, welcome back. So today we will do a tutorial example, some tutorial examples on induction machine, the equivalent circuit, the torque speed characteristic, the losses, and all the concepts that we have covered so far. These example problems I have picked up from Electrical Machinery by Fitzgerald Kingsley and Stephen Woomans. Um, and let's get started. That's chapter 6 of the book, and we'll start with the very first example, example 6.1. A three-phase two-pole 60 Hz induction motor is operating at 3502 rpm. So first of all, if it is a two-pole machine, then we know that the synchronous speed in mechanical radians per second and electrical radians per second are one and the same. That is to say that the synchronous speed in RPM would be 60 revolutions per minute, which would be 3600 RPM. And it is told to you that it is operating at 3502 RPM. So you can immediately now see that the slip is going to be 3600 minus 3.3502 divided by 3600. This is going to be the slip, which is 0.0272, and this slip is in per unit. It's a dimensionless quantity. If you want to say it in percentage, it is 2.72%. So we are given what is given to us is, first of all, 3. This means we know the slip. Then the second thing is given is, with a three-phase two-pole 60 Hz induction motor is operating at 3502 RPM with input power of 15.7 kilowatt. So therefore the input power is the P input is 15.7 kilowatt. Immediately we cannot process this data. We will see what comes further. And the terminal current is 22.6 ampere. So the terminal current means the current equivalent circuit of the induction motor. If you look at it, you know this, we have seen this JXM X2 JX2 dash R2 dash by S, and this is the terminal, which is assuming that there is ideal supply here. So this is the magnetizing impedance. Yeah, XM is correct, and you could have a RM sitting with it also here. So the thing is, this is the current which is flowing into the terminal current. Means this machine draws this particular amount of current, which is given to you as 22 point. So let's call this as I1. It will have a component I2 dash, and it will have a magnetizing component. So the input current is 22.6 amperes. The stator winding resistance, so this resistance, stator winding resistance is zero point 0.2 ohms per phase. Now what is required? Calculate the I square R power dissipated in the rotor. So we have to calculate the I square R losses uh, in the rotor. So we know that the power which goes to the input, which goes to the rotor, dissipates into mechanical work done, and I2 square, I2 dash square R2 dash, which is the heat losses. And the thing is, this proportion is 1 minus S of this P rotor, and this is the slip times the P rotor. This we have already seen earlier. So, and this is how much? This is I2 dash square R2 dash. Of course, this is by magnitude, R2 dash by S. So therefore, first of all, since we have to calculate this, and we know the slip is already known to us. So basically, to calculate this, we already know the slip. What we need to calculate is this P rotor. So what to calculate the power which is transmitted to the rotor winding, we should do is we should subtract the losses in the stator winding, and that is known to us, is it not? The current is known, so I1 square is known, I2 square is also known. Only thing is, since this is per phase, we should take 3 times of it to get the we should take 3 times of it by substitution to get this thing. So 15.7 minus 3 into 22.6 square into 0.20, which will come out to be 15.4 kilowatt. So now the losses in the rotor, the P loss in the rotor, which is I2 dash square R2 dash, is going to be slip, which is how much was how much was the slip? The slip was slip was 0.0272. The slip was 0.0272 into 15.4 kilowatt, which will come out to be 419 watts. So this is the uh, this is the uh, this is the loss which will happen in the rotor winding. Fine. Now let's take another. I will take the very next problem, practice problem now. Calculate the rotor power dissipation for a three-phase 460 volts 60 Hz 4-pole induction motor with an armature resistance of 0.5056 ohms operating at a speed of 1378 revolutions per minute with an input power of 47.4 kilowatt and a terminal current of 76.2 amperes. So now here the slight difference is it's a 4-pole machine. Now, though I didn't do it specifically in the context of induction machine, but in the earlier discussion, I have told you that you can have uh, the three-phase winding on the stator will always create a field which rotates at synchronous speed for that is 3600 rpm for a 60 hertz machine and three phase 3000 rpm for a two pole machine for a 50 hertz machine for a 50 hertz system, I'm sorry. But on the rotor you can have multiple number of poles, north south. You can create this, induce this structure, and you can induce this on the this also on the stator also. Actually you can induce this on the stator also, and if you do that, then you will get that if it is a 4-pole machine, then the synchronous speed will become 1800 rpm for a 60 hertz machine and so on. So in this case, for a 4-pole machine, the synchronous speed will become 1800 rpm for a 60 hertz machine, which will translate to 2 pi into 30 hertz, which is same as 60 pi radians per second. Okay. So we have taken care of the what is the understanding of what is to be understood by first of all this four pole machine. Now calculate the rotor power dissipation. Calculate the rotor power dissipation. The problem is calculate the rotor power dissipation. I'm sorry. Uh, yeah, calculate the rotor power dissipation for a three-phase 460 volts, 60 hertz, four-pole induction machine with a armature resistance of 0.056 ohms. This is the armature resistance operating at 1738 revolutions per minute. So now immediately once you know the synchronous speed, once you know the revolutions actually that it is making, you can put up the slip. So you will come to know what is the slip of the machine with an input power of 47.4 kilowatt and a terminal current of 76.2 amperes. So once you know that the current terminal current is 76.2 amperes, you can immediately calculate the losses which are going to happen in the stator winding, exactly as in the previous case, and from there subtract it from the input power, and you should get the yeah, I should have multiplied this by 3. Is it not? 15.8 is um, okay. So the input power is 47.4 kilowatt. So uh, the per phase input power is only 15.8 kilowatt divided by 3. So therefore I am doing this calculation in per phase. So I will get this as the per phase loss in the stator winding, subtract it from the per phase input, and I'll get the per phase uh, I'll get the per phase power which is being transferred to the rotor, and so the per phase loss is going to be S times of P rotor, which is point slip is already calculated. Now power transferred to the rotor is already calculated. Product of the two will give me 0.533 kilowatt per phase, which if you multiply by 3 will give you 1.6 kilowatts of 1.6 kilowatts of the losses which will happen in the rotor. Okay. Now let us take the next problem. Uh, this is example 6.2 of example 6.2. A three-phase Y connected 220 kV line to line 7.5 kilowatt. This is all the nameplate rating of the machine. 60 hertz, 6-pole induction machine motor has parameter values in ohms per phase referred to stator as the stator resistance, the stator leakage reactance, the rotor resistance and the rotor leakage reactance, and the magnetizing reactance. The total friction and windage and core losses may be assumed to be constant at 403 watts. This is because the core losses mainly depend upon the applied voltage. Windage losses are mainly depend upon the speed, but the induction motors practically run close to synchronous speed. So therefore this is also constant and friction is also taken as constant. So therefore a constant of 403 watt independent of the load. This is of course an approximation. For a slip of 2%, compute the speed, output torque and power, stator current, power factor and efficiency when the motor is operated at rated voltage and frequency. So the slip is first of all here given as 0.02 watt. And now let us see what all is given to us. Compute the speed, output torque, and power factor, etc., etc., when the motor is operated at rated voltage and frequency. So now this 0.44 divided by the slip will become how much? Will become 7.2 ohms. So this is R2 dash by S. First of all, I am writing the equivalent circuit. Now this is X2 dash, just written here JX2 dash. The magnetizing reactance, since Rm is not there, we will assume, we will not bother about it. We'll just write this, we'll assume as if it is infinity, and just write JXM XM here. R1, which is given to us, X1, which is also given to us. But while writing here on the equivalent circuit, you have to put the J operator also, because we are going to play with the numbers now. And the input voltage will be, this is line to line Y connected. So in the per phase, this will come out to be 220 by root 3 volts. So now our equivalent circuit is cleared. Now what is it that we are asked to calculate? Uh, for a slip of compute the speed, I'm sorry, speed is straightforward. This is not going to be a problem. Output torque and power, stator current, power factor, and efficiency when the motor is operated at the rated frequency. So first of all, what we are going to do is, we are going to create a new equivalent circuit of the new equivalent circuit of this. We are going to simplify this and create a Thevenin's equivalent circuit, as if we are going to look from this particular thing. The reason why we are doing it is because in general the slip can also keep changing. This part right now we want to keep separate. This part we want to separate out by the, so as if this is a load, and this one we want to separate it out into a equivalent circuit. So uh, so what we will do is, um, let me see what have we done. Okay, we have not, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, this is not what my job is not to create a equivalent circuit here in that way. What I have done is, this 7.2 ohms plus J 0.209 ohms comes in parallel with J 13.25. So I'm just simplifying the circuit, which brings it to 5.41 ohms plus J 3.11 uh, ohms. So this comes out to be the new impedance of this parallel combination, which comes in series with this particular thing, and we are connecting to it a supply of 127 volts. So once we know this, we can calculate the input current, which was one of the things that was asked to us. So the input current is known. Once the input current is known, the voltage is known, the current is known, and the angle by which it lags, that is also known. So therefore the power factor is known. Now what is the to what is the speed at which the machine is rotating at a slip of 2%? 1 minus s into 2 pi. Because it's a 6-pole machine, that means 3 pole pairs. That means actual synchronous speed in mechanical radians per second will be 60 by 3 revolutions per second, because there are 3 pole pairs. So 2 pi into 60 by 3 into this is the actual speed at which it is rotating, which is 123.2 radians per second. So we also now know the omega m. We need omega m because torque is also asked from us. Now let us see first of all what is the power? To calculate just torque, we also need to know PM and we need omega m. So to know PM, first we need to know what is the power transferred to the rotor through the air gap. Then we will subtract the losses from it. Then in the rotor losses, then we will know exactly the PM, and that let's proceed. So first of all, uh, the air power which is transferred through the air gap to the rotor side for a three-phase machine will be three times the current which is flowing through it, which is this, into this equivalent resistance which we have got here, 5.41, which is to say that we will be transferring 5740 watts. Now, of this, 1 minus s percentage is used for the shaft, and uh, not shaft. This is the mechanical power which is transferred, and the s times of P gap is the losses in the rotor. So that should be taken away. To calculate the shaft power. To calculate the shaft power, we should first of all just look at what is the mechanical power, which is 1 minus s times the P gap, and then subtract from it whatever are the friction, windage, and other losses which are happening associated with it. So we subtract this. So we get 0.98 into 5740 minus 403, which is 5220 watts. Now once we know this, divide it by omega, which we have already calculated, and we get the shaft torque. And input power is simply 3V1 I1 cos phi, which we have already, all the data is available to you. So it becomes 60 watts. And finally, now we know that the shaft power is, useful shaft power is only 5220 watts. Input power is 60. So therefore, the net efficiency comes out to be 86.1%. Okay. Now let's take one last problem, and then uh, we will stop here. This is the last problem. Example 6.3, which is continuing with the same data which we had in the previous example, except for the fact that now the slip has become 0.03. And now determine the load component of the stator current, I2 to dash of the stator current. That's the first question. So the load component is I2 dash, then you have the magnetizing component, and then you will get the I1. Then electromechanical torque and electromechanical power, maximum electromechanical torque and corresponding speed, electromechanical starting torque and corresponding stator load current I2 start. Okay. So now here what we are going to do is that first we are going to, because you remember the way I did the torque speed characteristic, I needed the R Thevenin and the X Thevenin. So what I have to first of all do is calculate the R Thevenin and the X Thevenin, and this side is, the rotor side is x2 dash plus j r2 dash by x. To calculate this R Thevenin and X Thevenin, what I have to do, the this the voltage, source voltage is short circuited, so I short circuited x1 r1 and jx1. This is all that is there. This part is taken away. So that is the thing that we are doing. We short circuit this, then we open it from here, and we calculate this parallel combination which I have shown here. The parallel combination of R1 plus JXL1 in parallel with JXM1, that gives me the R Thevenin plus JX Thevenin. And once you know this, then the voltage which is coming here is the V Thevenin voltage, so that is going to be very close to this 127 volts, because most of the reactance is sitting here and not in the leakage, it is in the magnetizing value. So therefore we get that as 120 2.3. The voltage, it is JXTHM divided by R1 plus JXL1 plus JXTM into 127 angle 0. So that comes to 122.3. It will have some angle. Now, but I have taken this angle to be um, 0 because this circuit is, no, I am using this as the reference value. Main reason is I am using this as a reference value. So in other words, if I give this as 0, you will have to assume that this will have some alpha angle which will come to it. Okay. Now with this taken as the reference and the values of R2 dash by S coming out to be R2 dash by S comes out um, 7.2. Is that correct? Um, I think, let me, you please check it out. So this are the, this is now the I2 dash which we need to calculate, and this will turn out to be 122.3 divided by some this resistance to this resistance and this reactance to this reactance, and put it here in the denominator, and then the magnitude of it is all that I have written here. It will come out to be so I'll just write it as R Thevenin plus R2 dash by S plus J times of X Thevenin plus X2 dash, and that comes out to be 23.9. Once you know this, once you know R2 dash by S, you know the power which is transferred to the secondary through the air gap. 1 minus S of it becomes the mechanical power, and omega S into 1 minus S becomes the rate speed. So 1 minus S goes away. So therefore the torque is, this we have done already. So the torque is 3 I2 dash square R2 dash by omega S, and we have already got everything here now. So therefore this is synchronous speed. This is not, remember, this is not actual speed because the factor 1 minus S and 1 minus S has gone down. And so this if you substitute will come out to be 65.4 Newton meter. So once you know this, multiply this by once you know this, or rather once you know this, multiply it by 1 minus S and you get the P mechanical power. Now let's come to the maximum torque and the slip at which maximum torque will happen. So we have already derived that maximum slip at which maximum torque happens is at R2 divided by this particular quantity, and I have got all the parameters, so I'll calculate the slip as 0.192. Once I do that, then this is a 6-pole machine, so 3600 by 3 is 3-pole pair, so 1200 rpm is the synchronous speed. So the actual speed at which maximum torque occurs is 1 minus 0.192, 1 minus S into 1200, which is 970 rpm. So we know the speed now at which maximum torque happens. And the formula for the maximum torque we have already written down, and this is the actual synchronous speed. We substitute all the data here, we will get 175 Newton. Now just for the starting torque, the last point that we need to calculate. So take the slip to be 1. Once you know the slip to be 1, calculate the current, and the then the 3 I2 dash R2 dash I2 dash square by R2 dash by S comes out to be the PM divided by omega S. Sorry, that air gap power divided by omega of S will come out to be using the same thing as 77.3 Newton meter. So we have calculated. A bit cumbersome, but you have to do it. Basically revolves around a few basic formulas involving the slip and the equivalent circuit, and if you carefully do it, you should be able to handle all the questions. This closes this particular tutorial example on induction motors. Thank you.